Brian had stepped up and said, this girl has been working as a citizen and we should pay attention, and I've always appreciated that very much. He was one of the first to say, she's got a real chance and y'all should take her seriously, and so I'll never forget that. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. But it's always a joy for me to get out and see the folks who are really doing the work in Knox County, and that's you all. What I like to do when I come to these things is really tell you a little bit about what we've been up to, because I think it's important for you to know the people that you elected and hired for this job, and I consider it a job. I tell everyone this is like an employment contract, and if I fulfill all the terms of my employment, maybe you will renew my contract. If there's still things to do, and we want to, continue the relationship, and so I take it very seriously, and I try to work as hard as I can. We have good days and we have bad days on commission, don't we, Madam Chair? But we always have hope, and we always just keep going and keep pushing and keep trying to serve you all to the best of our abilities. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and tell you a little bit about the things that we have done over the first, what I call the first about 1,100 days in office. First off, you're going to see a Knox County update on your table. These are some things that we have implemented since Madam Chair and I have actually been in office working with our county departments. We have some of the greatest people probably in the state of Tennessee working for Knox County, right? You agree. So these are some tools, tips, and things to come. One thing that we're really proud of is the C-Click Fix app. You can access this from your phone or your laptop, and if you see something, you can report it. Pothole, cracked sidewalk, bags of trash in the road, anything that you see, you can report it, and it will actually then submit a request to Engineering and Public Works to go out and take care of it. The greatest thing that I like about it is that you get a report and you get an update on what you have submitted. So this is fantastic. You can download the app on your phone. It will even drop in a pin for a location. So you don't have to do a whole lot of work there. So you don't have to call or email or anything. It's right there on your phone. The second thing is traffic calming. It used to be pretty difficult for a neighborhood to request traffic calming in their communities. And we've made that a little bit easier, and we've given you a lot more options. Before, we had maybe 5 or 6 traffic calming measures that we would implement, and now we have pages. I mean, Jim Snowden and his team are just fantastic. And now it doesn't take a certain number of people to submit the request and sign up to do it. It's much easier. So if your community, you want something done right there in your neighborhood to help keep it safe, we have traffic calming measures, and there you can submit an application online. So you and your neighbors can submit the application, and the link is there for you. We also have an improvements dashboard. So all the capital improvement projects that we have approved and are ongoing, we now have a dashboard. So you can go online at any time and you can keep up with the progress of a capital improvement just throughout Knox County. Then water runoff and drainage. Right now we've got an online survey. I think Madam Chair will agree that we get a lot of phone calls and emails about stormwater runoff, mostly from growth and development, and we're disturbing our root systems, and that's just a natural result of a really quick growth. So we now are doing a survey, and we want to hear from you. So that is online. If you have time, please take that survey. Citizens have asked for more stormwater and runoff focus, and this is what we need from you. We need you to take the survey. Pavement management system, this is phenomenal. When Mayor Jacobs came into office, he implemented this data-driven method, and it helps us prolong the lifetime of our paving, and it also helps us track paving throughout the county. So at any time, you can call your commissioner or call Engineering and Public Works, or even go to this website, and you can look up your road and you can see where it's ranked. So a lot of times we'll have people call and say, my road really needs paved, and the first thing I'll do is actually go into the system and kind of see, well, where is it so far? And then, as Madam Chair knows, then we go into Director Snowden and we beg, barter, and plead, can we please get this moved up? Because we actually have constituents who are voicing concern about it, and so we feel like there's a lot of merit in that, just from you all getting together and calling us, and so we can move it up on the list if need be. And then keeping up with the case. We're growing like crazy. You know, that's how I got involved in this crazy arena to begin with. When my kids started school, schools were overcrowded and we were growing and we weren't really keeping up with infrastructure. I didn't quite understand that. You know, really started advocating on behalf of communities to have more intentional growth of coordinated infrastructure. Well, you can keep up with the case. If you want to see what is on the Planning Commission agenda or County Commission agenda for rezoning or even development plans as they get further into the process, you can keep up with the case. And so it will email you and give you updates. It will tell you when the meetings are, how you can get involved, you can sign up to speak, and it's all right there with keep up with the case. So that's what this is about. Now, I know I'm gonna go over my time because I always do. What people really don't know is when you get on commission, it's not just those county commission meetings that Brian watches on CTV. We also serve on boards and committees. For instance, I serve on 12 boards and committees. So, for instance, we have the golf board, which is a mayor's appointment. I serve on the golf board. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. That's also a mayor's appointment, and I just finished chairing the committee to update the board bylaws because they had not been updated in a good bit. So those were completed. We have Cable TV, which is now the Telecom Board, Fire and Technical Rescue, Finance, Rules Committee, I chair that committee, the Beer Board, I chair that board, CAC, which is the Community Action Committee, Codes, Joint Education, TTCDA, which we just successfully dissolved, which really needed to happen. That board had kind of served its purpose, and it was more of a cumbersome in the process, and it was a lot of duplication of discussion and processes, and I'm very process oriented and driven, and so when there's inefficiency and things like that, it kind of, as you know, it drives me a little bit crazy. And so we started working on that, and we just had our second reading, or we will Monday. We'll have our second reading to dissolve that. And then the Ag Extension Board, which I absolutely love serving on. And then I just serve on a couple of boards from a personal standpoint of Junior Achievement and Renew Clinic, which is a Christ-centered addiction recovery clinic, and the Hardin Valley Business and Community Alliance, which I helped to co-found. So, some highlights. We've completed 2 budget cycles. We're in budget season right now, so we're having all of those hard conversations with constituents, with county departments, with our finance director. We'll continue to have those conversations probably through May. We may even push into June a little bit. This budget is going to be a little bit challenging. For the first time, we exceeded $1 billion. So the budget cycle for 24-25 was just a little over $1 billion, and that's an increase of $30 million. From 23 to 24. We will see a flat budget this year, I will tell you. Flat. It may appear like there's a budget increase, but that is inflation. And that is dealing with the increase in fixed costs. So when people say, oh, no, you actually increased the budget by $30 million. Well, look at the value of your dollar and the cost and the expenses. So that gives you a little bit of that. Property tax collection for 24 was $299.7 million, up $7 million. Due to the property tax ratio, we're trending less in 25. Local option sales tax collections for 24 were $263 million, up nearly $1 million. Collections are also up for 25, so that's pretty good. Wheel tax collections were down by $400,000 in FY 24 at $15 million, but we are trending up on our wheel tax collection as well. Road improvements.
That's countywide.
Yeah, countywide. Road improvements, we have invested $14.8 million in road improvements. I'm really proud of that because I really kind of got into this because I'm all about roads. Roads. And I love that Madam Chair shares that enthusiasm and excitement about roads because let me tell you something. She came in on the scene in District 3 and has turned it up on its head. I mean, people who have not been able to get their roads paved, a pothole paved, a stop sign, traffic sign. She's done it. I can't even imagine how much of those millions she has gotten invested into District 3. So be sure to thank her. I have a list of a lot of those road improvements. See me afterwards if you want to know because I want to take up too much time. But a lot of improvements in areas that have been neglected for a long time. One of them being Hardin Valley. You know, we're looking at probably 16 to 17 million over 4 years. much needed, much needed. EPW, we've done a lot of things in engineering and public works, and Jim Snowden deserves it. One of the first things we did May 23 was we approved and implemented a resolution so that engineering and public works can oversee infrastructure improvements, but the developer pays for them. And that is through an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding agreement. And they manage that, they manage the project, so it's done to our standards, but on their dime. So that was a big deal, really big deal. And it also helped everyone kind of enforce the planning conditions that we place on rezoning. Whereas before, it could be litigated and an applicant or a developer could argue against it. So that took care of that. We streamlined the building code process. We raised the fees. I am pushing right now to raise building permit fees. I hope to get that done. We adopted a new stormwater ordinance because it strengthens and it protects you from sinkholes. Mm-hmm. That was kind of just swiped, a little bit to the side. There's a lot of sinkholes around Knox County, let me tell you. We implemented the new traffic calming and C-Clicks fix, so you got that. Park improvements, $6.62 million. We've done a lot in our recreational offerings across the county. Water trail, it's gonna be 44 miles of a clear blueway. We've cleared debris. We now have a bloom program, and I think Madam Chair is gonna put a bloom garden in her district, working with Parks and Rec. That will help us reduce mowing by 25%, and that's just using all kinds of plants that are native of this area. We've added dog parks, 3 splash pads, 2 pickleball courts, 3 ADA playgrounds, and 5 new parks. And 19 sports athletic fields. All of the lighting have been replaced with energy efficient bulbs. That's a big deal, really big deal. You all saw that we passed the ambulance contract. I was one of those that did not support the vote, but I pledged to work with the contractor to continue to improve services for Knox County, and I have continued to do that. I meet with them probably once or twice a month. I have visited all of the emergency departments and tried to talk with as many hospital execs as I possibly can about long wall times. And so I'm happy to say for the past 2 or 3 months, they've hit 90%. So they put a woman in charge. You can stay.
I got it. It's on here.
They did. They put a woman in charge, and we're seeing good things happen. We established a junior commission program. We created an educational series for commissioners. So once a month or every other month, I try to organize and just offer continuing education for commission. It can be on topics, it can be with organizations, it can be with departments. Just because, guess what? You don't come into this job knowing everything. I'm grabbing some water. And things change so quickly. So we want a way to get that information, and that's how we do it. It also helps us have dialogue with each other because, as you know, we're sunshined, so we can't talk about it. So this kind of opens up conversation, and we can have open dialogue, and the public is always welcome. You can't participate, but you can observe, and you can kind of hear what the dialogue is like between commissioners. And so we're having a lot of fun, and I have gotten a lot of great response about that. When I first came on, I also reviewed all the defined service agreements. I wanted to be able to specify exactly how these can be used, and Mayor Jacobs did that. He went through all the contracts, and then they are defining the services and programs that those dollars are going to. We also have strengthened the application process and implemented metrics through community development, and that is a great thing. That is a great thing. I reviewed the nonprofit funding recipients, also how to specify the funds that they are getting. We reviewed all county land use agreements so that there would be a standard contract with metrics. Like for Concord Marina, it had no metrics. So sat down and went through that. Merit board, we broadened grievable offenses. We have lessened restrictions on employees and merit board members to participate in campaign activity. Just because you serve on a board, I don't think that should limit you from supporting a candidate. Or now, I don't want you wearing a t-shirt to a board or committee meeting, but if you want to put somebody's sign in your yard, That's your right, and you should be able to do that. We held a mental health joint session with the city, and we still keep pushing our state delegate to help us with an inpatient, state-funded, staffed bed facility. It's important that it's staffed beds. Advanced Knox, we are through phase 1. We adopted and implemented the comprehensive land use and transportation plan. That's the first time in the history of Knox County that we've ever looked at land use, roads, and recreational offerings holistically. It's always been done kind of in silos. And now we're looking at a much bigger picture and how those things all work together. So we're now entering into phase 2, which is creating the Unified Development Ordinance, and that will update our zoning ordinances, subdivision regs, those types of things. That's the next step. So we are just now starting that, and that'll get us through the home stretch. So out of the comprehensive plan, we came out with 23 policy and action items to implement over the next year and a half. So we'll be working hard on doing that. So it serves our local policy statement, really. And we're just, like I said, we'll try to combine traditional zoning and subdivision regs where we have done that, again, separately, and it hasn't made a whole lot of sense. Other things, I'm working with the Joint Education Committee and also Knox County Schools on how do we measure and what do we do about the impact of growth and development on our schools. It's harder than you would think to try to do that. So we are working on that. We now include the fire jurisdiction on all of our KGIS mapping and also on our planning and rezoning case files that had not been done in the past, and our emergency services providers kind of felt left out. And this also keeps them on notice of, hey, you've got 300 new houses coming into this area. Can you serve those homes? So that was something I worked with them on doing. The mayor's office is working on an online application for those interested in serving on a board or committee that is mayor appointed. That includes planning commission. So I'm really excited about that. The rules committee, we opened the appointment process to commission appointed committees and boards. We felt like that was important. If you have served well, that is great. Like Mr. Lloyd has served well on BZA, but it shouldn't just be an automatic renewal or just that person comes before commission and we're just voting on them. There may be some other qualified applications, and we are opening those to everyone. So now it's not just kind of an automatic thing, which I think was really important. We have, planning staff has revamped the zoning application. It now requires a check mark for the applicant to reach out to the community. We felt like that was really important to do. We weren't seeing a lot of that in the past. Rules committee, we now include an ethics policy in the commission rules. Before, it just referred to it, but there was no ethics policy. We also created an attendance policy for all of our boards and committees. And then we reviewed all of our boards and committees to make sure that the scope of service, the purpose, what we were requiring of those groups was still relevant. And so we have done that. We amended the CACB zoning ordinance to allow more housing types, but with enhanced standards, especially for parcels adjacent to residential properties. That means drive-throughs. You don't want, if you've got a commercial piece of property coming up next to you and you've got a residential, we wanted to protect you from maybe a drive-through, lighting standards, noise standards, those type of things in the CACB. So we're working on updates right now and revisions to kind of tweak the plan development ordinance. Wireless communication facilities for the first time. You were on BZA. For the first time, I actually helped a community kind of shoot down a wireless facility. Yes, and it turns out that our ordinances were just not very clear, and neither was the process, and so planning is working on that. And then we're also working on the neighborhood commercial ordinance, just because there's a lot of questions. It's very vague. I just don't like it very much. And I'm happy to say I'm working on a chicken ordinance so that you can have chickens in residential areas, because we have a lot of kids in 4-H and FFA, and they have to take care of an animal, and guess what? They have to travel 25-30 minutes across the county to do that. Well, having a couple of chickens, as long as we can contain them and establish some standards, and also the price of eggs. People just love chickens. I mean, that was one of my first chores as a kid, was going and getting the eggs, and I have the scars on my hands to prove it. Yes, we updated the postponement requirements for zoning and sector plan amendments at commission. This makes it easier and gives the community more time and more notice, whereas before it was short. I already said we dissolved that. We will work on cost sharing agreements in the UDO. That means just expanding the memorandum of understandings that we are implementing for road improvements and infrastructure improvements. And we restructured commission meetings, so now they are more community friendly, and your zoning isn't at 7, it's at 5. And we separated those things so that we can be more focused and more efficient, and that's a great thing. We created a personnel committee because we found that we had some areas that didn't have oversight, like the law library, merit council, BZA, and internal audit department. So the personnel committee now is kind of a checks and balance over those things. We approved raises for sheriff's officers, students, and county employees. We funded debris collection post-storm at a price tag of $300,000. Well, I already said I told you about the fees. We've included those. We also revamped our county youth athletic program, and we just created a youth athletic advisory board, and I have 9 vacancies. I would love for anyone that is not involved with a sanctioned or commissioned youth group, sports. If you're interested in serving, we would love to have you. So let me know about that. We also approved a sports complex on Watt Road, and thanks to our state partners, we're able to secure the funding to improve that intersection, which will also help Hardin Valley, and it will also help the Farragut area. We are still pursuing a regional ag center. That's something that I really have a passion for. 80% of the land in Tennessee is used for agricultural purposes. Believe it or not, it's our top industry across the state. I like to say to other elected leaders who are up higher than me, what would it look like if we made Knox County the most farming friendly in the state of Tennessee? In my perspective, everybody wins. If so, we're still working on that. We just revised the zoning ordinance to support more child care facilities. We made the restrictions a little bit easier, so because we want to support our working families. Child care is a big issue, and our economy is growing as well. We want it to continue to grow, but we got to get working families some help. So we worked on that. Other than that, most time it's spent answering questions, working with constituents on zoning issues, water issues, stop signs, road servicing, all the things, lawn mowing, homelessness, connecting citizens with departments or resources, and just do policy improvements. So that's a lot of what we've been doing. Now you know what you voted for and what you got. We love our jobs, and we love serving you, and it really is about service. So absolutely, in 2026, I love my job. If you think I'm doing a good job, I'd love for you to keep me on. So thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.